Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing good. This is your Inzam sir. Well, today we are going to learn chapter number 4, which is population of Bangladesh. Let's get started. After this chapter, we will be able to know what is demography, then the dominant elements for change of population, concept of birth rate, concept of mortality rate, concept of migration, and concept of social mobility. Okay. The first topic is Introduction to Population of Bangladesh. The number of people in our country is more in comparison to its area. In this country, 1,015 people live in per square kilometer. This is according to Census 2011. Bangladesh is the 8th largest populated country in the world. In class 3, 4 and 5, we have learned about the state of population of Bangladesh. Then we have learned nothing about demography. In this chapter, we will know about demography and various elements that influence the change of population. Well, what is demography? The number of living in a locality or state can be counted. In a particular time, how many babies are born, how many die, how many people of which age live, how many are married, how many have migrated to other places, or how many have come from other places can be calculated. Okay. Then, analyzing the word demography, two words are found. One is demos, which means people, and the other is graphy, which means measurement or description or quantity. You can say either of them or which one you actually like. So demography means the calculation or description of population. Demography is also called population science. So did you get your answer? What is demography? Demography is the calculation or description of population, and you can also call it population science. Keep in mind that if we divide demography into two words, we will find the meaning of people and measurement. Like if you find demos, it means people, and the other word graphy means measurement. Alright? Dominant elements for change of population. So what are the dominant elements? Why does our population change? Do we know the answer? Let's find out. The dominant elements for change of population are birth rate, mortality rate, migration, marriage, social mobility, and so on. Now, let's know more about these terms. Birth rate. What is birth rate? Generally, birth rate means the number of living children born to every 1,000 women of a particular country in a particular time. This definition is very important and it is not easy to remember. So keep in mind that birth rate means the number of living children born to every 1,000 women of a particular country in a particular time. The increase of birth rate is one of the reasons for the increase of population. I mean, if the birth rate increases, your population will also increase. In the countries like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, etc., birth rate is high. However, birth rate is low in some countries like the USA, Canada, and Australia, etc. Well, the second one is mortality rate. What is mortality rate? Usually the end of life is called death. Mortality rate is also measured in per thousand. It is determined by how many people of a certain age die in per thousand people. Decrease of mortality rate is one of the reasons for increase of population. So it is the opposite of birth rate. If birth rate increases, the population increases too. But if the mortality rate increases, the population will decrease. Alright? Development of medical science and other technologies has resulted in the decrease of mortality rate in Bangladesh for some decades. In 1990, the mortality rate of below 5-year-old children was 144 in per thousand. Remember, mortality rate is also measured in per thousand. It is not in per 100, rather per thousand. So in 1990, the mortality rate of below 5-year-old children was 144 per thousand. But in 2015, child mortality rate was 38 in per thousand. So there is a drastic change, and this change is obviously welcome for our country or to our country, because it is for the development of medical science, you know. Then again, we can face some tough situations like the coronavirus thing. There can be pandemic too, but we have to keep our patience. All right. Now, let's see these two pictures. The left side is the picture of birth rate, and there are so many reasons of birth rate. And on the right side, we can see some newborn babies, and in front of them there is a map. Anyway, if your newborn babies, the number of newborn babies is much more higher, then your population will increase. That's for sure. Now, the mortality rate. On the right side, you can see people wearing the PPE, and the patients are actually in the ICU room, and you can obviously guess this is from the pandemic situation of or for COVID-19. And you know, every day there are so many people dying in the world, so the mortality rate will be high in these years, and the population will decrease. Anyway, we are going to the next topic, that is migration. What is migration? Migration means people's movement from one place to another within the country, or from one country to another. That means it can be in your own country too, and it can be from one country to another, like from Bangladesh to India, Bangladesh to America. Migration is of two types. One is internal migration and other is international migration. Internal migration takes place within the country. People's migration from village to town, village to village, town to village, town to town within the country is called internal migration. Well, this line is very important. People's migration from village to town, village to village, town to village, town to town within the country is called internal migration. Why? Because it is within the country. However, when we go to different places daily, we cannot be called internal migration. Like you are living in Keraniganj and you are coming to St. Gregory's High School, that means in Lokhi Bajar, daily. That is not your migration, because you are doing this daily for some purpose. Anyway, transfer from an independent country to another for job, marriage, residence, and even citizenship is known as internal migration. However, if migration takes place within the country, the total population does not increase or decrease, because it doesn't matter whether I am in Khulna or Dhaka, because I am living in Bangladesh, and the population will not increase or decrease, because both Dhaka and Khulna are in Bangladesh. But if migration takes place from one country to another, then the total population will be changed. Like if you are going to USA for your permanent residence, then the population of Bangladesh will decrease. On the other hand, the population of USA will increase. Right? So these are the pictures of migration. On the left side, you can guess it can be internal migration or it can be international migration too. But on the right side, we can see the people, and there are actually the visa things. That means it can be not internal migration, international migration, right? Then marriage. Conventionally, the people of our country get married at a relatively tender age. It is one of the main reasons for increase of birth rate. In our country, early marriage has been officially banned. Now you might be wondering what is tender. That means it can be young. They are pretty much young and they are getting married. That means if anyone is getting married in 22 or 23, then there might be increase of birth rate. Then social mobility. Social mobility mainly means the change of social status. For example, if any member of a poor family getting highly educated becomes a high official, his status will change. As a result, his consciousness will increase and he or she will keep the number of children at a logical level. Well, I'm repeating social mobility again. Social mobility mainly means the change of social status. So it means the change of social status. For example, if any member of a poor family getting highly educated becomes a high official, his status will change. As a result, his consciousness will increase and he or she will keep the number of children at a logical level. So this is on the left side a picture of marriage, and on the right side this is a picture of social mobility. One man is actually trying to improve his position and another man is actually going down. Why? Because he is hanging with a balloon and we know he cannot fly for long. And the other man who is trying to go upward with the ladder, he might change his position from downward to upward. So this is social mobility, from poor to rich or from rich to poor. With this, I'm ending the class today. Thank you everyone for your patience and time. Take care of yourself and others too. Goodbye.